They want to know, what is this Creatrix?
You had a lot of stress, so you didn't have the really deep personal belief in yourself. Self-worthiness was very much lacking. Your emotions were all over the place. You wanted to be a better person. You wanted to heal that. Finding yourself with me was because, well, first of all, you did put it out into the universe that you wanted something that really worked, that lasted and would break the cycle for you, right? That's obviously when I show up. And that is because Creatrix was made when I noticed that females in personal development, it didn't matter how good the personal development was. It didn't matter whether they were working at spiritual level, whether they were working at a belief level, whether they were working at values level, whether they were whatever level it was, it just wasn't sticking. And I noticed that in business for, a decade and a half before I couldn't stand it, because women wanted, it's not as if they didn't know. Every book, everything tells them that, you're worthy and you're good enough and you can bring to your life. You don't have to be thinking all the time. You don't have to be on. You can be yourself and you're good enough to be yourself. Turning my own life around was through a natural occurrence. I myself had zero self-esteem. I couldn't even eye contact people. I was very, very suppressed. I was very much a pattern. My mum was suppressed, her mum, right? So this is what set this to come about, was having a personal experience, thinking I was the chewing gum under shoes and living a life where I was making decisions where any love would do. I would accept any treatment was better than nothing, to find myself in a predicament as a single mum and living in hiding and coming out, and it was still there. And then them finally saying, we'll relocate you. When they said, we'll help you, but we can only do it one time. So it was like this, oh my gosh, well, I'll show you. I won't need you again. I'm going to turn my life around. And I thought, oh, I really have to. I can't just keep choosing the wrong man. I can't just keep living in fear. What else is going to happen next? Who else is going to, it was like I had pick me on my forehead to abuse, to gaslight, to suppress, to oppress. Like, pick me, because I'm really weak and needy, right? I need to be looked after, and I feel like I can't fend for myself. So it came from zero self-esteem, really. But what happened to me, we were relocating. We're halfway and I'm in this old bomby car. So I pull up and I go to a public phone box to ring my mum and just say, we're halfway, we haven't broken down. And then I wake up on the floor of the phone box and I'm don't know what happened to me. I could see the car. I could see the kids jumping through the windscreen, but I was seeing them in real time, but I was in this warped moment of perception. I didn't know what happened to me yet, and I could just see them moving. I couldn't hear anything. It was like time was standing still for me to perceive. And it was like none of my faculties, so none of my beliefs or conditioning or, time wasn't there. It was this clarity that I'd never had, always had this oppressive perspective of every single thing. And, and it was just clear. And I was watching them and I was realizing, oh my gosh, we're going into another relocation program. Like, we're lucky to be alive. I got this time that possibly didn't even exist. If you think, it might have been 1 second, I don't know how long it was, that I was sitting, wasn't thinking about myself. I wasn't conscious, but I wasn't unconscious. And I was just seeing reality. And it was, oh my gosh, you need to change. You need to change. And it was also just strength. And it was, I can do this. I've got this.
Wow.
They need it. I need it. I was re-identified. And so by the time my faculties came back into me and noise came back on and I came into, so I was between probably unconscious and conscious, but I'd had a seizure. I didn't have epilepsy. I'd never had a seizure in my life, but I had a seizure and woke up on the floor. Kids didn't notice. They hadn't noticed me. jumping around, playing as they do. And I got up and I was different. So by the time my faculties came back in, they would have had to settle in an environment that actually was changed. I was changed. I had strength, inner strength. There was no thought that I'm not good enough. There was no all of the things Dad said to me, you're worthless, useless, you know, never, you know, you're a nobody sort of that chewing gum thing. That all was gone. It was just gone. But I didn't know how to be yet. I didn't know how to be confident yet or anything like that. So I had to learn all of that and all of that stuff. But that moment changed my life on a dime. Nothing stopped me. Went from checkout chick, unemployed, bar waiter sometimes when really desperate, but a single mum with 4 children to look after on my own. And so even though we were going to, you know, into this emergency little house and I had no work and I was leaving friends and family, there was no one I knew. It was so that became a challenge and an adventure when before it was just hell on earth as a possibility. And within 18 months, I took us from that little 3-bedroom house with no fans, no floor coverings, no gardens. It was a shell of a tiny little house in a very poor area, and to a 6-bedroom house with a swimming pool and a brand new car in the driveway within 18 months.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and that journey with the kids, I showed them how, I don't know, just all of the how came.
Yeah.
So, but the decision was made that I was turning my life around. I was not going to be this. This is not who I was really born to be. It was just who I'd ended up and been conditioned and brought into it too. So at 31, this was me at 31.
Wow.
But by the time I was 33, I'm going overseas and have to order a passport. I've never been overseas. I've never even wanted to.
Wow.
But then I was like 40 overseas trips later and on high life, and I realized that personal development that I was using to help others wasn't sticking. And it was a secret though. Women didn't talk about this. They all thought they were the anomaly. Oh, you know, it's just me. My dolly's that. It's never, you don't question that because everybody knows they're great. You know, everybody knows they all work. It's just they don't work on me. So that's me. So that I didn't like that added to a woman's already believing she was so different and broken. And now she's done all the personal development and now she's not good enough for that either. But that's added to the worst case. So yes, it was horrible. I couldn't stand it anymore. So I walked off to create and I was going to find something. I couldn't find it. That stuck. So I made something. And I think, ironically, even when people told me that couldn't be done, I did create when I realized what I was, even after I'd created it, was, oh my gosh, I've recreated the wake up moment I had.
Wow.
This is filterless. This is beliefless. This is timeless. This has zero filters, faculties, nothing inside the person. When they realize that there's no teacher, that, oh my gosh. And so it was a hypothesis that I could do it. It was under, you know, I linked some dots that I thought was the reason. And I did 13,000 hours research in one go. That's like years of rolling in and out of bed, basically. And I found that women really are wired very, very differently emotionally, mentally, but no one's talking about it. And that's when I thought, holy geez, I want to break cycles and patterns. I didn't want to be a part of history. Couldn't stand thinking that my grandchildren were just going to have a life I had and be oppressed and suppressed just because my mother had and her mother had. No way. I wanted to break the cycle. And I think asking the right questions is really determined to fix a problem that most people still to this day don't really realize is a major problem. Women are different. Personal development, success, even goal setting, consistency, plan your work your plan, compartmentalize. They're all for male brains. And this ends up, so wisdom realizing or just getting all your life lessons plop is, you know, locks in our body. Yeah. So you're one of the people who are the evidence, and we've got 12 years, 13 years now, I think, almost from the first ones had it done, that they're all still, nothing's ever come back, and they've broken the cycle, they've moved on. So yeah, we Creatrix and now Renovatrix re-engineered for men, because ironically Creatrix doesn't work for men because it's that female formulated. It's
Wow.
structured for us. I wanted to heal hearts because I knew that. So in my little wake up moment, that lasted me for a lot of years, but now of course even I use Creatrix for
Yeah.
everything and anything. Why not? You just get smarter and wiser. But yeah, I just wanted a better world. I wanted women to, I saw the problem. It exists, doesn't it, Catherine?
Yeah.
Most things are temporary. They're great and they are beautiful while they last, and they help us to a certain degree. But there's this, the fact that they can entirely move on was what I wanted for them, because I had been able to do that. So I knew it was, I had so many PTSDs, it was ridiculous. I'd had everything. I won't even say what it is because some of it's too horrible to even talk about. And, none of it identifies me anymore. No. Empowerment, but through healing the heart, taking all the stress out of the body, because when you gain the wisdom is what was missed. We need to fill the holes from those trauma moments of shock that lacked wisdom for a whole being to stay truly believing in themselves, to come out whole no matter what happens to them. That's all we're doing here, replacing the wisdom back to wholeness until she can feel her joys and her good stuff. And, we're meant to be happy.
Oh, I'm so grateful. I used to be so offended, and so I was triggered by everything and anything. I was the most jumpy person ever. And I always thought someone was looking at me, like I always felt suspicious.
And there's nothing to prove. You're whole and complete. There's, every person has wisdom in them. I think that was one of the beautiful big discoveries that
Mm,
makes this so award winning, is the innovativeness, that it's organic, it's natural, it's modeled from nature. It's just wisdom gaining. It's a different form of education for us. All of our personal development that came in
mm,
here just didn't think in. This is an embodied, just simply self-realizing, requires no teacher. Who would think the teacher was in us all along? Well, the old wise elder gurus knew it, and we heard them say it. But this is just accessing that, and every person has a pool of wisdom inside them they don't know is there, but
yeah.
it's the solution and answer to all of their stuff. And getting unstuck requires not any guru out there,
Mm,
but just this realizing. And yeah, I think one day it'll be the people's psychology and people will just easily be able to do this. But it's at the moment, of course, it's, we know how to guide them there, and can't be
yeah.
easier than that. And asking the own system, it's, I think it's ideal in this day and age because
Yeah.
it's painless too. Doesn't require the story regurgitating.
Yeah. It's just beautiful.